Hello, friends. Namaskar. Good morning. Today, on 10th September, I'm here again in front of you with a very good topic that I'm going to discuss and explain to you, to convey to you the significance and importance of a great poet and his works. And this poet is a very noteworthy poet of 20th century, though he lived only for 25 years. He was an officer in the British Army during the First World War, and no other writer has written so forcefully, so powerfully in English or any other language. No other writer has been able to capture and portray the ugliness, the brutality, the horror of modern warfare in comparison to this poet's writings. You see, everyone pales into insignificance. Wilfred Owen is one such poet who had seen action. He had fought bravely in the First World War, and unfortunately, he died just 1 week before the armistice, before the First World War ended. He was crossing a trench when he was shot in his chest by Germans. So, in this way, Wilfred Owen, a very talented anti-war poet, an English poet, died sudden death. And this was a great loss to the English literature because he would definitely have flourished into a very great and good poet, because whatever he has written, he has written very little. All his poems that he wrote are just collected in one small thin volume called Poems. These were collected by his friends Siegfried Sassoon, Edmund Blunden, etc., and it was published posthumously. So only 4 or 5 of his poems were published during his lifetime. Otherwise, all the other poems written by him were published posthumously, that is, after his death. Well, Wilfred Owen uses many poetic techniques, and he was obviously a well-read man, though he was a soldier and he was an artist. And there was a regiment for artists in British Army then, but later on they realized that artists are not fit for army service, because most of the art people and the officers and soldiers with artistic philosophical temperament were found unfit, because they suffered more from trauma of warfare. And later on, a psychological wing was established in the armies of all the world, and only people with soldier-like quality were recruited. They are still recruited. So, Wilfred Owen wrote very numerous, 5 or 6 of his poems are very noteworthy, and you see the brutality of war. He pictures, he portrays. There is a very strong visual appeal in many of his poems that takes the reader straight into the battlefield. Like there is one poem with Latin title, and the title is taken from Horace, who was a famous Latin poet of 1st century AD. I don't know how to pronounce it because I don't know Latin. Dulce et decorum est. I call it as it is written. I pronounce it dulce, D-U-L-C-E, E-T, et decorum, D-E-C-O-R-U-M-E-S-T. This is a phrase taken from Horace, who meant to say in this line that This line simply means that it is glorious and fit to die for one's fatherland, for one's country. Well, Wilfred Owen says that it is a big lie. It is not glorious. Modern warfare is a cowardly art, as Bernard said, of attacking when your enemy is weak and keeping out of harm's way uh, uh, when you are weak. So, modern warfare is very cruel. In seconds, in minutes, hundreds and hundreds of soldiers are killed by big bombs that are uh, bombed by warplanes and that by enemy heavy cannon cells of enemy, by machine gun fire, which kills hundreds of people in minutes. So these soldiers don't get opportunity to show any valor, and it is only the sentimental homestayers who think that battle is something romantic and that every soldier is just dying to die for his country and earn glory and fame and earn renown. So, this is all foolish and sentimental thinking of homestayers. This romantic kind of thinking is foolish and it's a lie. Wilfred Owen says in this poem that it is a big lie that it is glorious and fit to die for on a battlefield. Because he, in this poem, shows the slow and painful and horrible death of a soldier who becomes a victim of mustard gas attack of Germans. So this death of an English soldiers, young English soldiers, that he describes in this poem is so tellingly and explains the cruelty, horror, and futility of modern warfare. So Wilfred Owen wrote uh, 4 or 5 very well-known poems, which every reader of English should read and study. That is, they are strange meeting. Strange meeting. Some two soldiers meet in hell after they die in battlefield, and what they say to each other is the uh, uh, summary of the poem. So, Strange Meeting is one such noteworthy poem by Owen. Another is Spring Offensive, Warfare in Springtime. The very title is ironic. Springtime is a time to enjoy youth, the beauty, to listen and to see the beautiful sights and sounds of springtime, to enjoy youth, to love and be loved, uh, to eat, to dress, to enjoy life. So at this time, the soldiers are forced to fight and die. So Spring Offensive is another very good poem by Owen. Anthem for Doomed Youth. Then Futility. In Futility, there is a portrayal of the death of a French soldier who dies, and the poet says that he should be taken under the sun because this soldier was a farmer in France previously, and every day he woke up at the touch of the sun when the sun rose in the sky. So, if anybody can make it alive again, this soldier who has been hit by a bullet and is dying, and his sides are still warm, or one officer present there says that he should be taken under the sun, and because this kind old sun knows him how to, make him awake after a sleep. So only he knows the secret, because this soldier was a farmer, and every day he used to get up at sunrise at the touch of the sun rays. But the sun rays failed to revive him, and the poet exclaims in he's distraught with pain, and he says that, oh, what made the foolish old sun to toil and produce life on earth, by making this cold planet warm and producing life. So futility, it's futile, and the very uh, effort of the sun to make this earth teem with life is futile. So futility very tellingly tells you, very effectively tells you how futile is warfare, how cruel it is. A soldier dies before he has seen anything of life, before he has enjoyed his life. In the prime of his life, this French soldier dies unsung, unwept, unseen. So, Anthem for Doomed Youth is another very nice poem. In the very beginning, there is onomatopoeia, the stuttering rifle's rapid rattle. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? उनके लिए, इन सोल्जर्स के लिए क्या पासिंग बेल्स चर्च में बजाए जाएं? ओनली द मॉन्स्ट्रस एंगर ऑफ द गन्स, ये मॉन्स्टर की तरह दहाड़ते ये गन्स, मशीन गन्स ही उनके लिए ऑरिसन है जो जल्दी जल्दी चर्च में मानो पढ़े जा रहे हैं. तो ये ऑरिसन पढ़ना, ये प्रार्थना दुआ पढ़ना, ये दुआ उनके लिए मीन भेड़ बकरों की तरह मरने वाले सोल्जर्स के लिए ये मशीन गन ही मानो दुआ पढ़ रहे हैं. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle can patter out their hasty orisons. So these orisons are hastily uttered by the machine gun fire. Stuttering rifles' rapid rattle. Onomatopoeia. You hear the very the firing sound of machine guns. That is the magic of poetic effect created by Wilfred Owen. So, in this first part, I have just given you some idea about how great poet, how a poet of big potentiality this Wilfred Owen was, and his death was as big a tragedy as his untimely death was a big tragedy, like the unfortunate untimely death of other big poets like John Keats, Shelley, and other poets. So friends, in second part, I'll be talking about the poem Dals et Decorum Est, which is there in the class 12 syllabus of West Bengal Board English Medium. So those who are studying in West Bengal English Medium schools, they will be benefited if they see the second part of my lecture on Wilfred Owen. Thank you, friends, and I hope I have been able to convey to you the importance of this great poet, Wilfred Owen, this great anti-war poet. He once said that I'm not concerned with poetry. Though he's a poet, he says that writing poetry is not his main purpose. I'm not concerned with poetry. My subject is war, the pity of war. Poetry is in the pity. How beautifully he says that he wants to portray the horror and brutality and the pity of war. And you definitely get a feel of how inglorious death on the battlefield is in modern warfare. Thank you so much.